Hi, my name is Dr. Jim Hoven, and over the last 35 years, I've had the chance to do some amazing things in my career, from going to chiropractic school, opening a bunch of practices, working with a chiropractic franchise, opening a gym, working with a law firm, and even a hormone replacement therapy clinic. And all of those things has gotten me to a place where I can share messages with people. And so people have been coming up to me and saying, if you could give us a formula, if you could give us something that would help us show how we could find our way and find success in our lives, what would that be? And so originally this started as a chance for me to have a conversation with a group of high school students, and they had asked that question. They had said, what can you share with us and with this group of students that will help them when it comes to finding their way after high school? So I literally sat down, pen to paper, and started thinking about the attributes that had helped me along the way, helped me in my journey, and made me think, well, what could I share with these young folks? Over time, and after talking it through, thinking it through, right before the presentation, something hit me. It was like, bam, it was that power moment when I thought, when I put these certain elements together that I'm about to share with you, it makes all the difference in the world. And I've literally tried to break this formula that I'm going to share with you. I've tried to break it 100 ways and 100 times, and so far, I haven't been able to. So right now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to share it with you, and that you can use it in any way that you like. I'm going to show you a couple ways to use it, but whether that's for yourself in a place that you want to go, like a goal that you're trying to achieve or something that you want to accomplish in your life, or, and here's the beautiful part, if you want to use this formula to find out why you are getting the results that you're currently getting right now, you can use it for that as well. So we're going to go through it. I call it the results guaranteed formula, or the results guaranteed equation. I'm going to go through it with you. It's easy, it's simple, and it's effective. So you might want to take notes. We're going to make this easy for you. We're going to give you some cool stuff. You'll see some graphics. It's going to be very, very fun and interesting. But pay close attention, because with a few simple adjustments on whatever you're doing right now, it will either help you magnify your results or it'll inform you exactly why you are where you are. All right, ready? Let's do it. So the first element of this equation is to know that we have just a few things, only 3 variables that lead to your success and to my success. And I can prove this out in my own life again and again and again. The first variable is our actions. What actions are you taking? So if we want to look at our results, which is, by the way, the final variable in the equation, so everything that we're going to do leads to or equals to results. Your results and my results. The first element is the actions. What kind of actions are you taking? Now here's what I'd like you to do. Get out a piece of paper, write on the paper 0 to 10. Just go 0 to 10, and then you're going to list the chance later after we're done with the video, or you can stop the video, whatever you want to do, and write down the actions that you're taking in a given area. So here's how we'll break this down. The first example of how we use the equation is to say wherever you're at right now, and you can use something in your health. So is it your fitness? Is it your relationship? Is it the grades that you're getting in school? Is it the salary that you're making at work? What's going on in your life that you want to measure and see why you are where you are? Okay, so we'll take this scenario first in that context. So let's just say the result, you're going to fill in that last variable first, the result. Let's just say, for lack of a better term, you're talking about your body weight. That's an easy one. So your current body weight is, and write the number on there. And if you are happy with that number, we're going to see why when we fill out the rest of the equation. If you're unhappy with a number, we're going to see why with the rest of the equation, okay? So for now, just say your body weight or some other variable that they're currently seeing in your life, just write that under the R, or so all the way to the right of the page. Now, under A for action, we're going to write down the things that you're doing that may make your body weight what it is. How are you eating? How are you sleeping? What kind of exercise are you doing? Those kinds of things. So just take those and write those actions down on the paper in front of you. And then with those actions, especially the ones that would lead to you having the ideal body weight, the ideal salary, the ideal relationship, if any of the positive things that you're doing there under actions, write a number on 0 to 10, where 10 means you're taking massive action on a daily or at least a weekly basis on those items, okay? So you might write it, if you're doing nothing, for example, on your body weight, if you know that you should be doing exercise 5 days a week, you write exercise 5 days a week. How often are you doing it? 0, right? You get a 0 there. Same thing with how you're eating and how you're sleeping and all the other things that lead to ideal weight. In the case of your salary, like we talked about earlier, or how much money you're earning, what is your skill set? How hard are you working on that every day? What are you doing to make yourself better? Do your bosses know what you do? Are you going the extra mile doing things? All those things, write your number down. And when you get all the actions listed out and all the numbers written 0 to 10, take a look and then just take an average of all the numbers you have. So in other words, if you wrote down 3 actions and you had a 5, a 4, and a 3, if you took those numbers together and averaged them, the average would be 4. So that's going to be your score under actions. So the first letter of our equation, our results guaranteed equation, is A for action. Now, the next variable that we have is AD. So capital A with a small d, and that's for your attitude. That's your attitude. And we're going to have the same scale, 0 to 10 for attitude. And when it comes to attitude, that's how you go about your business. How do you go about what you do, what you have to do, in other words, the actions, when it comes to whatever your result is that you have in your life right now. So again, going back to the 2 that we talked about, number 1, your ideal body weight or your current body weight, and number 2, the current level of salary that you're making, money that you're making. What is your attitude towards that item? So what is your attitude about wanting to work out? What is your attitude about wanting to get up early and put a little more time in? What is your attitude about getting better at your craft, getting better at what you do? What is your attitude? Do you dread or do you look forward? How do you go through that process? And rate all of those kinds of thought processes in your mind on a scale from 0 to 10. 0 is the lowest, 10 is the highest. Okay, so that's the second variable. The third variable is a C. So we have A, then we have AD, and the third variable is C. And the C stands for consistency, and this is the big one. In most cases, this is the one that drives the ultimate R, which is your result. So now looking at this from where we've started, we've written down all the actions with a 0 to 10 number. We've written our attitude with a 0 to 10 number. Now we're going to take our consistency. And there's a couple ways to look at this. If we look at consistency from the aspect of all of the good actions and all of the good attitude, what would you rate that? So as an example, if your body weight was right where you wanted it, in the case of our body weight example, and you looked at working out and diet, and your actions were at a 6 on both of those, but your consistency was at a 10, like you never missed the 2 things that you did, those things, that's going to magnify your results, and I'll show you how in just a moment, okay? But first let me tell you why consistency is so important. Here's just a plain piece of paper, thin piece of paper. I want you to see what happens and how easy it is for me to tear this piece of paper. Super easy, no problem. Now that's an action. I took an action to do that. But watch what happens if I take that same thin piece of paper and I just twist it. All I do is twist it a handful of times. Just like this, okay? No different than the paper before, just in a different configuration. That twisting is essentially the action being done again and again and again until through consistency, that action becomes a habit. Now watch this. This same piece of paper that I could so easily rip, when I take it and I put repetition and stress onto it, I can't tear that. I can't, regardless of how much effort I put and strength I put and how I try to tear it left and right, up and down, back and forth, I cannot tear that. So when we have our habits are our actions done consistently over time. If our habits are good, this becomes a rope to our success. But if our habits are bad, it becomes an anchor and a chain to pull us away from the things that we really want. So if we had bad habits because of our consistency and our actions together, what we have to do is we have to unwind those. We have to take away the things that are moving us away from our goals and our dreams, and we have to make it flat again so that we can change that and then change it into a new and a better habit that when applied, we can't break and we don't want to break. So those are the variables. We have actions, attitudes, consistency leads to results. But let me show you how the formula plays out. It's your actions plus your attitude. So going back to our finances, if the actions that we're doing to be the best that we can in our chosen endeavor, or as a student, if our actions are at a 10, we are just crushing the things that we love to do, and our attitude is at a 10, we add those two together. 10 plus 10 is 20. Now is where the consistency comes into play. If we do those things every day, and that's a 10, 10 plus 10 is 20, times 10 is 200. So when you want to see why your results are where they are, take your actions and the score of your actions, add it to the score of your attitude, multiply it by that consistency factor, and you'll see that almost every time, in almost every case, that the real magic comes from the consistency. Now, where that's going to change is if you're looking at something that you've not done before. If you're going to start a new project, for example, and you've never done it before, you have no ability to be consistent because you haven't done anything. So in that case, you got to have all the actions in line first. That's where that's going to come into play. And then your attitude. Those are the first two to change it. But the ones that make the drastic movements in the results is always going to be your consistency over time. Okay? Because those are the habits, those are the drivers, the things that are really going to create the permanent change. Now, when you're looking at where you're at, you can again say, well, my actions plus my attitude times consistency gives me that score of 82. Well, 82 out of a possible 200 isn't even 50%. And so if you find yourself there, and so far again, every time I've really reflected on this honestly, and I've put myself into the situation of any part of my life, and I put it through this formula, I run it through the variables, I'm pretty darn close. Where if I say, man, my ultimate results, or I have no results, and if I put a score to it, and then I run it through the formula, pretty darn consistent. Now, let's use the formula in another direction. What if we wanted to say, for example, I want to get great grades. I'm taking a class and I want to get great grades. Now we do the same exact formula, only now we're creating the plan that's going to lead to the result. So we put the result that we want, and in this case, if it was grades, I want to get a B or better in my physics class. So the goal is to get a B or better. That's in the results category. Now what we need to do is say, okay, what actions do I need to take in order to get a B? I need to study. Okay, what do I need to study and how long do I need to study it for? Do I need a tutor? Do I need to make sure that I buy the books? Do I need to have a special calculator? Do I need to make sure that I spend time with the teacher or the TA once every 2 weeks or once a month? What are the actions that I think I need to do to get the result that I want, which is at least a B in the class? So write those all out. Then on our attitude, what attitude do I need to have? Because let's face it, attitude drives how we go about our actions. Attitude also drives, are we going to be consistent with our actions? So by looking at the attitude and pre-programming it, saying, I need to have a positive outlook by making sure that I am absolutely ready for every class. I'm ready for every class. I need to make sure that I've got all my mind settled by getting enough sleep the night before, right? And when I have this, I'm going to have an attitude expectant to learn. I'm going to have an attitude of being appreciative for this opportunity to learn this. I'm going to say where this is going to take me by learning this, the results and the benefits I'm going to get. So by doing all those things, now you're saying what attitude you need to have. And then you say, how consistent do I need to do those actions and those attitudes if I want to achieve this goal, this result of at least a B in my physics class? And then you would say, for this, I need to do it once a day. This, I need to do it once a week. This, I need to do it 3 times a month. Whatever it is, you now map out the plan through the results guaranteed equation, and that's all you need to do. And then you need to follow it. And so now you say, okay, of these things, how aggressive am I being on these actions, 0 to 10? So if after that first 3 weeks of the semester, if you are not seeing the results that you want, then all you have to do is say, I need to up my actions, right? If you honestly grade yourself and you say, man, my actions here, how good have I been doing these things? I'm only at a 4. Hey, 4 ain't gonna get you a B or better. You gotta have at least an 8 to get a B or better. So then you say, I gotta amp it up. Then you say, where's my attitude? If your attitude is already at an 8 or above, you're just not doing the actions, okay, don't need to change anything. If your attitude is really bad, like, oh, I hate the class, it goes too long, you gotta figure out how to switch that. Play the mental game with yourself to say, no. I control my attitude and then control it. So that your attitude comes up to that number and then the consistency. And you can do the math on there to see what's gonna get you to that B or better. So those are 2 ways to use the results guaranteed equation. I know that I've given you a lot here. Hopefully with the things that we've talked about, you can start to get the idea of exactly how to work through this. Now I've created a worksheet for you. If that worksheet is something that you'd like to have, all you have to do is email me and I'd be happy to get that to you, okay? And we'll put a link to the email so that you can get a hold of me in the caption here somewhere. But in the meantime, try this. Do it both ways. Check it out. Say, okay, well, my current results in one area of my life is this. Let me write down my actions, attitude, and consistency, and let me see what I score by doing that. And then say, okay, here's something I want to accomplish in my results. Write out all the actions, write out the attitude you need to have and the consistency you need to take. And then as you go for that goal, just monitor it. If you're not getting to where you want, is it actions, attitudes, consistency, or a combination of those variables that you need to change? And I'm telling you right now, if you work that formula, if you work that equation, you will get results. So I look forward to hearing from you, how it's working for you, questions that you have, and I've been honored and thankful to be able to share this information with you. Hopefully it's helped you as much as it's helped me.